प्यारे देशवासियों, नमस्कार। आज 27 मार्च, कुछ ही समय पूर्व भारत ने एक अभूतपूर्व सिद्धि हासिल की है। भारत ने आज अपना नाम अंतरिक्ष महाशक्ति स्पेस पावर के रूप में दर्ज करा दिया है। अब तक दुनिया के 3 देश अमेरिका, रूस और चीन को यह उपलब्धि हासिल थी। अब भारत चौथा देश है जिसने आज यह सिद्धि प्राप्त की है। हर हिंदुस्तानी के लिए इससे बड़े गर्व का पल नहीं हो सकता है। कुछ ही समय पूर्व हमारे वैज्ञानिकों ने अंतरिक्ष में, स्पेस में 300 किलोमीटर दूर LEO, लो अर्थ ऑर्बिट में एक लाइव सैटेलाइट को मार गिराया है। LEO, लो ऑर्बिट में यह लाइव सैटेलाइट, जो कि एक पूर्व निर्धारित लक्ष्य था, उसे एंटी सैटेलाइट asset मिसाइल द्वारा मार गिराया गया है। सिर्फ 3 मिनट में सफलतापूर्वक यह ऑपरेशन पूरा किया गया है। मिशन शक्ति यह अत्यंत कठिन ऑपरेशन था, जिसमें बहुत ही उच्च कोटि की तकनीकी क्षमता की आवश्यकता थी। वैज्ञानिकों द्वारा सभी निर्धारित लक्ष्य और उद्देश्य प्राप्त कर लिए गए हैं। हम सभी भारतीयों के लिए यह गर्व की बात है। यह पराक्रम भारत में ही विकसित एंटी सैटेलाइट asat मिसाइल द्वारा सिद्ध किया गया है। सर्वप्रथम मैं मिशन शक्ति से जुड़े सभी DRDO वैज्ञानिकों, अनुसंधानकर्ताओं तथा अन्य संबंधित कर्मियों को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, जिन्होंने इस असाधारण सफलता को प्राप्त करने में योगदान दिया। आज फिर उन्होंने देश का मान बढ़ाया है। हमें हमारे वैज्ञानिकों पर गर्व है। अंतरिक्ष आज हमारे जीवन शैली का एक महत्वपूर्ण हिस्सा बन गया है। आज हमारे पास पर्याप्त संख्या में उपग्रह उपलब्ध हैं, जो अलग अलग क्षेत्रों के विकास में अपना बहुमूल्य योगदान दे रहे हैं, जैसे कृषि, रक्षा, सुरक्षा, आपदा प्रबंधन, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट, संचार, कम्युनिकेशन, एंटरटेनमेंट, टीवी, मौसम की जानकारियां, नेविगेशन, शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में, मेडिकल के क्षेत्र में, ऐसे अनेक क्षेत्र हैं। हमारे उपग्रहों का लाभ सभी को मिल रहा है, चाहे वो किसान हो, मछुआरे हो, विद्यार्थी हो, सुरक्षा बल हो। दूसरी ओर, चाहे वो रेलवे हो, हवाई जहाज हो, पानी के जहाज हो या परिचालन की कोई भी बात हो, इन सभी जगह उपग्रहों का उपयोग किया जा रहा है। विश्व में स्पेस और सैटेलाइट का महत्व बढ़ते ही जाने वाला है। शायद जीवन इसके बिना अधूरा हो जाएगा। ऐसी स्थिति में इन सभी उपकरणों की सुरक्षा पुख्ता करना भी उतना ही महत्वपूर्ण है। आज की एंटी सैटेलाइट एसैट मिसाइल भारत की सुरक्षा की दृष्टि से और भारत की विकास यात्रा की दृष्टि से देश को एक नई मजबूती देगा। मैं आज विश्व समुदाय को भी आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि हमने जो नई क्षमता प्राप्त की है यह किसी के विरुद्ध नहीं है। यह तेज गति से आगे बढ़ रहे हिंदुस्तान की रक्षात्मक पहल है। भारत हमेशा से ही अंतरिक्ष में हथियारों की होड़ के विरुद्ध रहा है और इससे इस नीति में कोई बदलाव नहीं आया है। आज का यह परीक्षण किसी भी तरह के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कानून अथवा संधि समझौतों का उल्लंघन नहीं करता है। हम आधुनिक तकनीक का उपयोग देश के 130 करोड़ नागरिकों की सुरक्षा एवं उनके कल्याण के लिए ही करना चाहते हैं। इस क्षेत्र में शांति और सुरक्षा का माहौल बनाने के लिए एक मजबूत भारत का होना आवश्यक है। हमारा सामरिक उद्देश्य शांति बनाए रखना है, न कि युद्ध का माहौल बनाना। प्यारे देशवासियों, भारत ने अंतरिक्ष क्षेत्र में जो काम किया है उसका मूल उद्देश्य भारत की सुरक्षा, भारत का आर्थिक विकास और भारत की तकनीकी प्रगति है। आज का यह मिशन शक्ति इन सपनों को सुरक्षित करने की ओर एक अहम कदम है, जो इन तीनों स्तंभों की सुरक्षा के लिए आवश्यक था। आज की सफलता को आने वाले समय में एक सुरक्षित राष्ट्र, समृद्ध राष्ट्र और शांतिप्रिय राष्ट्र की ओर बढ़ते कदम के रूप में देखना चाहिए। यह महत्वपूर्ण है कि हम आगे बढ़ें और अपने आप को भविष्य की चुनौतियों के लिए तैयार करें। हमें भविष्य की चुनौतियों का सामना करने तथा अपने लोगों के जीवन स्तर में सकारात्मक बदलाव लाने के लिए आधुनिक तकनीक को अपनाना ही होगा। सभी भारतवासी भविष्य की चुनौतियों का सामना आत्मविश्वास से करें और सुरक्षित महसूस करें, यही हमारा लक्ष्य है। मुझे अपने लोगों की कर्मठता, प्रतिबद्धता, समर्पण और योग्यता पर पूर्ण विश्वास है। हम निसंदेह एकजुट होकर एक शक्तिशाली, खुशहाल और सुरक्षित भारत का निर्माण करें। मैं ऐसे भारत की परिकल्पना करता हूं जो अपने समय से 2 कदम आगे की सोच सके और चलने की हिम्मत भी जुटा सके। सभी देशवासियों को आज की इस महान उपलब्धि के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई, बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं और इस पराक्रम को करने वाले सभी मेरे साथियों को फिर एक बार अभिनंदन करता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय।
All right, the Prime Minister there concluding his highly anticipated, much awaited address to the nation, a brief one there. He spoke for about 10 minutes, essentially announcing that India's anti-satellite missile system has carried out a successful test against a low Earth orbit satellite, shooting down a live satellite in space. It has been codenamed Mission Shakti. The Prime Minister there saying India is now in an elite club of countries. Earlier only US, Russia and China occupied this space. Now India is the latest entrant into this elite club. Also the Prime Minister there saying our move is aimed at our self-defense, enhancing our national security and focusing on our economic and technological advancements, not targeted against any country. And they're saying that India is very, very proud of its scientists and who have, of course, ensured that we enter this elite club with Mission Shakti, as we said, India's anti-satellite missile system that is now well and truly in place. It has carried out a successful test against a low Earth orbit satellite. All right, reactions have begun to come in. Let's listen in.
ऐतिहासिक मिशन शक्ति को सफल बनाने के लिए भारतीय वैज्ञानिकों को बहुत बहुत बधाई और शुभकामनाएं। भारत तेजी से विश्वगुरु बनने के तरफ आगे बढ़ रहा है और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में विश्व में एक सुपर इकोनॉमिक पावर के साथ साथ एक सुपर वैज्ञानिक पावर के रूप में भी आगे जा रहा है। इसकी बहुत खुशी है। फिर से एक बार सभी वैज्ञानिकों का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन और शुभेच्छाएं। ऐतिहासिक मिशन शक्ती यशस्वी केल्याबद्दल भारतीय वैज्ञानिकांचं अभिनंदन, शुभेच्छा। भारत एक सुपर इकॉनॉमिक पॉवर बनण्याच्या प्रक्रियेत गतिशील आहे। त्याचबरोबर एक वैज्ञानिक पॉवर देखील बनण्याकरता विश्वगुरु बनण्याची क्षमता ठेवतो आहे। हेच या घटनेतून सिद्ध होत आहे।
All right, so there comes the announcement. Well, certainly nothing like demonetization, and we can tell you, going by the reactions we are seeing online, especially on Twitter, a lot of people heaving a huge sigh of relief that their money is safe. That is the joke that's currently doing the rounds on social media. Nothing like demonetization or surgical strikes or air strikes. But yes, the Prime Minister announcing India's giant leap forward in space technology, saying India is now a true blue space superpower. Let me go across to my colleague Brijesh Pandey at this point. Brijesh, you know, I'm reading some reactions on Twitter. I can tell you the one overwhelming sentiment and common reframe seems to be, thank God our money is safe. So a lot of people there heaving a huge sigh of relief, their money is safe, no demonetization or nothing of that nature, and no, nothing on the lines of surgical strikes or air strikes either. The Prime Minister making an announcement saying that India is now truly a space superpower, and that today with this test, you know, and thanks to our anti-satellite missile system, we have now become a real space power and entered an elite club of nations. Brijesh, your first thoughts?
Well, you know, I mean, you can also say that, you know, Prime Minister has lived up to his reputation for delivering the unexpected. I mean, nobody had thought that, you know, the Prime Minister would be making an announcement about how India has become a space superpower and joined the elite company of 2 to 3 countries. You know, this Operation Shakti, which was absolutely successful, and the Prime Minister has conveyed that how India shot down LEO live satellite, which was 300 kilometers away from Earth. And India has entered its name as an elite space power, and anti-satellite weapon ASAT successfully target a live satellite on a low Earth orbit. So it's clear that India has entered the space war league it has enhanced its space capability like anything. So this is the big ticket announcement which has been made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on this 27th of March 2019.
Well, yes, this is the big announcement, but like I said, in a lighter vein, Brajesh, many also heaving a huge sigh of relief, not ready to take another knock like demonetization, and not, a big bang announcement like surgical strikes or airstrikes either. So this really isn't to do directly with national security, but indirectly certainly, because this is about the giant leaps that India has now managed to make in space and in the area of space technology, entering an elite club there. And of course, Brajesh, you can now expect a slew of reactions, political reactions to come into this. You're going to have all the BJP spokespersons and leaders and ministers congratulating the Prime Minister and the government and the scientists on this step forward that India has taken in space technology. But I have a sneaking suspicion that you may have some less than flattering remarks coming in from the opposition, as you would expect in election season.
Well, of course, I mean, given the kind of hype that was surrounded with the big ticket announcement, of course, it has not exactly come across as the kind of announcement which many were expecting, and this is the reason why we would see a lot of unflattering remark also coming in, apart from few would definitely praise India's entry into an elite space club. So this is something which is bound to happen, and more so with the fact that the first phase of election is practically round the corner. We are 15 days away from the first phase of all important 2019 general elections to be held, and this is the reason why this announcement, the tweet of the Prime Minister, took the expectation to another orbit altogether, where we were all speculating about whether it is going to be either some big diplomatic success, or it is about whether the India has been able to get fugitive back. It has turned out to be an equally important announcement that India is now a superpower when it comes to space, and the Operation Shakti, which was codename of this particular operation, has been extremely successful, as the Prime Minister has informed the country.
Right, and it'll be very interesting to see, Brajesh, the kind of reactions that this is now going to evoke, because of course everything the Prime Minister says makes news, grabs headlines, becomes the subject of television debates and a lot of newspaper editorials, and needless to say, a war of words begins between the BJP and the opposition. And this wasn't just any election speech or a political speech. This wasn't an election rally. This was an address to the nation, Brajesh. There was a lot of hype around it, a massive build-up, a lot of excitement, a huge sense of anticipation, people almost biting their nails and wondering for more than half an hour what's going on, what the Prime Minister is going to say and what bombshell he is going to drop on us. And therefore it will be very interesting to see with this announcement what kind of reactions we are likely to get now, particularly from the opposition, which I think it would be pretty safe to say is perhaps going to have a few interesting things to say to the Prime Minister and to the government on this announcement. What else are you picking up, Brajesh?
Well, I think, the opposition must have definitely heaved a huge sigh of relief, because, everybody was expecting some big ticket announcement in the other realm of happening. They were thinking that this could be, some big announcement. It could be, a surgical strike. It could be arrest of someone. Fugitive India has been looking forward to important terrorists been neutralized. Any of these kind of announcements would have given the government an edge as far as 2019 Lok Sabha is concerned. But with this announcement that India entering into space, a super elite league of the space war, must have come as the opposition must have heaved a huge sigh of relief as far as this particular announcement is concerned.
Well, certainly I can tell you, Brajesh, that while we can celebrate this giant leap that India has taken in space technology, entering an elite club along with countries like the US, Russia and China, as the Prime Minister mentioned, Also a huge sigh of relief around the country. Ashish Singh, our Strategic Affairs Editor, also joining us from Vijay Chowk at this point. You know, as a journalist who's been covering the BJP government and Prime Minister Modi for a long time, Ashish, I would love to know what your thoughts on the PM's latest address to the nation are, because I can tell you that people were biting their nails and speculation was going wild, ranging from, is this going to be another demonetization? Is this going to be another Balakot? Is this going to be another surgical strike? So many, in a sense, heaving a sigh of relief that at least their money is safe. But what are you picking up on the PM's address to the nation, Ashish?
Certainly, as far as the common man are concerned, that's what the expectations were, that the announcement would be of that intensity. But remember, the intensity remains the same. It may not be exactly in the manner what the surgical strike announcement was, or the Balakot strike announcement, or the demonetization one. This is something that has very niche area and the domain. For example, the kind of deterrence that India has now created in this space domain, and people who deal with defense, who deal with space, who deal with cyber, people who deal with defense, who deal with space, who deal with cyber, they would understand the importance of it. This is something that is going to keep all the adversaries of India at bay. Remember, gone are the days when you're gonna have a man-to-man fight. Gone are the days when the wars and the conflicts would be won on the basis of just the mortar shells or the firing or with the help of weapons. When you have the domain of war going into the areas of space and cyber, in that particular domain, to keep India future ready for future wars, these kind of deterrents are important. And I was speaking to the former DRDO secretary and the other officials from the space, the ISRO organization, but all that they say is this is something that India must have. This is something that India was hoping to have for quite some time. Remember, the general information, the general knowledge, the general importance of these two domains of space and cyber are not very directly attached to people, are not something that every common man understands. But as from the country point of view, as the international image point of view, when you have these kind of ASAT tests being conducted successfully, that certainly keeps India prepared for future wars. And this is a big sigh of relief. This is a major achievement in the domain of space and military. Remember, this is something that only 3 countries before India have achieved. Yes, as far as the expectations are concerned, just before the timing of it, when you had the CCA meeting and the cabinet meeting taking place in a span of just 3 to 4 hours before the announcement, and you have just before the Lok Sabha election these kind of anticipation building up, there was a lot of expectation that there could be an announcement that's going to have direct impact on common man. When you have Prime Minister speaking and there's anticipation building approximately 40 minutes after when it was scheduled to start, the PM's address started. That was the expectation, heightened expectation, I would say curiosity and anxiety. That's what the people were hoping, that there would be something related to a demonetization or the surgical strike. But now this particular announcement coming from Prime Minister is not something that would be felt and understood by every common man. As I mentioned, space is not a domain where common masses directly get attached to. They do not understand the nuances of it. But in terms of defense and strategic affairs and the space domain, these are certainly the announcement that will go in the history. And this is something that will have India keeping at par with the top powers in the world. As I mentioned, just 3 countries before India have achieved this. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, what does ASAT mean? What does basically
give me just one moment,
this achievement mean?
Because we have another guest on the phone line. Let's get a reaction, then I'll come back to you. In fact, I'm also going through some tweets. Subramaniam Swamy, senior BJP leader, tweeting tremendous achievement by Namo government. It has thrown Pakistan electronic guidance of their jet fighter into blindness. Even Pakistan Air Force jets flying over Pakistan Pakistani territory can be shot down by blinded Pak radars. All right, Professor S.K. Dhaka, space scientist, joining us on the phone line at this point. Professor Dhaka, thanks very much for speaking to NewsX. Sir, as my colleague Ashish just pointed out, this is a very significant achievement by our scientists, by ISRO, but one that will not be easy for ordinary people to understand. Therefore, sir, if for the benefit of our viewers, you could explain what this really means. If you could just put this into perspective for our viewers, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that I think it's a big achievement for India, and I congratulate to the Indian scientists, and of course, as our Prime Minister has already announced, so this is something we should be proud of, and we are in the category of the fourth country in the world. And you know, after America, Russia, and China, so China last year they were successful to using laser system to destroy a particular satellite. So that was very highlighted achievement for the China. But India has done this. So I'm really excited, feeling very, very happy and congratulate to our country people that we are successfully in a position to fight like in the space. So India is capable to hit the missile system to the low Earth orbit satellite, which is located about like 300, 400 kilometers above Earth. So thank you.
All right, sir. Also, before we let you go, the fact that with this India now enters an elite club of nations, only the US, Russia and China have been here before. What really does that mean, sir, in the aerospace technology, where, of course, not many countries have taken these kind of giant leaps? Okay, I think we may have lost the line there to Professor Dhaka. Let me take this back to Ashish. Ashish, I'm sorry I had to interrupt you there. Go on, please complete the point that you were making about the significance of this achievement and what a giant leap this is for ISRO and for Indian scientists.
See, this is something that DRDO and ISRO were in the making. They were basically trying to create something of that sort, the anti-satellite missile system, the ASAT. Now, if you see from 2012 onwards, for last 7 years, the DRDO was ready. I mean, in 2012, I remember the then DRDO secretary had mentioned that if government gives the go-ahead, if government gives the green signal to the plan, then DRDO and ISRO can create, obviously with the help of few other agencies as well, can create an anti-satellite missile system. So we always had the capability, but the green signal was waiting by the government to the DRDO and the ISRO, and now we are told that by Prime Minister that the ASAT has been achieved. The successful test of the Mission Shakti has been conducted. Now this is something, for the benefit of our viewers, I'll just take a minute to explain how does this basically work without going into the much of tech and the specs part of it. See, basically this gives India a capability to shoot down enemy or adversary countries' satellites. Now, why is it important? For example, when you have an Indian Navy specific satellite, say Rukmini, is the Indian Navy's specific satellite, all the warships, all the submarines, all the ships of Indian Navy in harbor or somewhere deep in sea have this direct link with the Rukmini satellite. If any of our adversary country shoots down our one specific satellite, it's gonna paralyze the entire system, be it of Navy or something similar, which is the Army relies on and Air Force relies on, or the cyber financial institutions like BSC and other institutions rely on. And when you have these kind of satellites being shot down, that's war. That's war in space domain against India if that happens. Now, in order to have that kind of deterrence for the adversary, for the enemy, to basically convey the message that if you shoot down our satellite, we do have the capability to shoot down your satellite too. That is what the deterrence was required, and that's exactly what has been achieved. Now, if Indian satellites are shot down by any country, then India has now developed the capability, after the successful test of Mission Shakti, to neutralize or shoot down any other country's satellite. That certainly depends on the range of the missile system we have tested and which orbit the other military satellites or the commercial satellites or the financial satellites are in which orbit away from Earth. So that's a range issue. That's something that is developed over the period of time. For example, we test Agni 5, Agni, different variants of Agni missiles. It's a range that can be developed over the period of time.
Okay.
But now India has the capability. If we didn't have the capability, any country can shoot down our satellite and we become paralyzed in specific domain, be it military, finances, communication, anything related to direct impact on country, and we cannot do anything to the country.
And others who have contributed to make India a missile safe country. This test today was an acid test of your anti-satellite missile system. This shows that India can strike down a satellite that is low Earth orbiting satellite within 3 minutes. Second, this also shows that India can knock down an intercontinental ballistic missile launched at it from any of the countries. Now, this capability is only available, was only available till date with China, Russia and America. And today, India is the 4th country in the world that has entered this club. Now, this, if you see in the larger context, today, Pakistan keeps harping, they keep sending militants inside, and they keep telling us that we are a nuclear armed country, and keep threatening that they'll launch nuclear missiles. Now this makes that entire thing redundant.
All right, so reactions have started coming in with many congratulating Indian scientists, ISRO, the DRDO for this massive achievement. Time for us to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back on the other side, we'll bring you much more on this big story and many, many more reactions that are coming in.